All right, guys, live back, jumping back on here because we've got a debris signature showing up on radar. We had the storms moving through Halifax County, and we've got until 8:45 tornado warning that's in effect for Halifax County and South Boston. A very dangerous storm with a history of producing damage. We've got some trees down in the history of some of these storms, but you can see this is the area under the tornado warning until 8:45 p.m. I did want to show you what's going to be happening with this in terms of velocity, but let me just read you the update. The tornado warning remains in effect until 8:45 for southern Halifax County. At 8:21, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning capable of producing, or a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado just to the west of South Boston, moving east at 25 miles per hour. Radar indicated rotation, flying debris possible. Locations impacted include South Boston, Cluster Springs. It's just north of Elmo, and Dryburgh as well, Ingram and Scottsburg. What really has me concerned is this is some very tight rotation. Now, one thing that we are looking at is we are looking at about 5 to 6,000 feet up in the storm. So we are not looking at the ground level, but this is the velocity, and this is one of the strongest couplets that we have seen all day. Now, it's just updated. We have a potential tornado just to the north of South Boston, or on the north edge of South Boston. And this is possibly the real deal, which is why I'm ramping up my language here. There are some very, very strong winds showing up in this couplet here. So it's not just rotation. This is an actual couplet of very, very intense wind. If you look at the actual velocity data here, I think I'm looking at about, it's hard to tell. The radar is range folding. But if you look at something called the correlation coefficient, and you go back in time for when this warning came out, I actually see debris lofted in the air. Now, we also have the idea of a freezing level that will cause this area to look like that too. But right when the warning came out, there's a lowered value of correlation coefficient here as well. That is potential debris being picked up by the radar. And now into the South Boston, Scottsburg area, we've got tremendous velocities here, and just a rain-wrapped potential tornado. I tell you, it looks to me like the real thing. We're not going to know until unless we have people in that area that are hopefully taking cover in the basement, away from windows. But if folks, can and it's safe to let law enforcement know, we're going to be listening into the scanner frequencies on that area as well, because this area is one of the more impressive type tornado warnings that we've seen. And you can see my software is even picking up, showing that at low level threshold there, showing the strong couplet here of rotation. So unfortunately, it's right near a populated area. You've got Halifax County in through here, Scottsburg, South Boston, and Halifax. These are all very heavily populated areas relevant relative to what's in other parts of Halifax County. But you see here, this is going toward the radar. This is going away from the radar, very strong. And yeah, there's a potential tornado right in through there, in between Halifax and South Boston. I'm pulling up National Weather Service chat right now, and we are looking here. I've got some storm reports that are coming in Martinsville and Pennsylvania County of some shingles blown off, 1-inch tree limbs broken, tree on the power line. There's a few power lines down as well. I don't have anything coming in out of Halifax County just yet. However, it would not surprise me with the radar signatures that I am seeing on the screen. As this continues to update every couple of minutes, still seeing some very strong winds there. The rotation has become a little more broad, but it's so darn hard to see that when you're looking at rotational couplets at this level of the storm. In other words, if I zoom this out, the Earth is curving up underneath this radar beam that's going straight out. So, if I was looking in Franklin County, we'd be looking at about 800 feet into the storm. By the time we get out here in Halifax County, since the Earth is curving under it, we're up at about 7,000 feet looking at rotation in that storm. But it is enough for the National Weather Service to hoist that tornado warning in this red polygoned area. And I tell you what, looking at potential debris showing up around Scottsburg that could be lofted in the air. That could also be some hail in this as well. But there could be trees, pieces of homes, wood flying around. This could be the real deal. Now, if it becomes a confirmed tornado, it will turn purple on the screen, or a tornado reported. They haven't classified this. I think it's because of the height of the radar. But if this was lower on the ground, if we had a radar closer that we could look at, the National Weather Service would put this as a purple polygon for a radar confirmed tornado. They're going to continue it until 8:45. It's moving east at 35 miles per hour. I'm going to read you the latest update that just came in from this off the weather chat wire here. At 8:31, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located. There you see it moving closer in the Scottsburg as it updates live there on the screen. Tornado quarter-sized hail over South Boston, moving east at 35 miles per hour. Flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes damaged or destroyed, and that could be what was showing up on the radar just as we jumped on here. I can't confirm that. It could also be hail or the freezing level interfering with the radar in the mid-levels. Damage to roofs, windows, and cars will occur. Tree damage likely. And again, we could be seeing that on the radar. So as soon as we get a damage report out of that area, we may indeed have a confirmed tornado in Halifax County. I'm just saying that it's not just a little bit of rotation like we saw earlier with some straight line wind damage. This could be the real thing. And, you know, it's so far out from the radar, it's hard to tell. But you need to treat this as serious as you would a confirmed tornado. Halifax, South Boston, Clover, Scottsburg, and Dryburgh, you should be in your safe place. This is moving off to the east, and it's going to be entering the southern part of Charlotte County, south of Williamsburg. It's also going to be going into Mecklenburg County. That's going to be the National Weather Service's job out of Wakefield to cover that. And while I'm talking to you, I'm going to pull up a few more things because we do have a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible mentioned here for Halifax, South Boston, Clover, Nathalie, Scottsburg, kind of a bigger area going up to Volans until 9:15. But within that, you can see the area of rotation. And I noticed that when we jumped off there, we had this area north of Clover that's also spinning. This is in south central Virginia. That area also needs to be watched very carefully because that could tighten up as well. That's going to be moving into, again, Charlotte County, south of Drake's Branch and Williamsburg. But the strongest area of rotation, again, Halifax, Scottsburg, it's just now moving, if we do have anything there, it's just to the southeast of Halifax. So Halifax, except for the lightning, we've got the circulation now moving away from you. South Boston, you're still on the southern end of this circulation, and you're probably seeing some very strong wind. No reports yet with the tornado coming out of the National Weather Service. This is as of 8:34, right to the second. We still haven't heard any reports yet. The warning will continue through 8:45 p.m. Storm continues to show rotation, although it is broadening a bit, as they're noting there. It was tighter when they put the warning out, and of course they're always going to do that. They're going to, issue right when it's the tightest. You can see right there when I jumped back on into the radar picture. That's when you see the colors kind of converge like a V and then diverge like an inverted V. That's what we call a couplet, and that's a sign that the rotation has got to a point where it is right next to the other notch of rotation. So we call that a couplet there. So when you see this signature and this signature, you more than likely do have a possible tornado right on the intersection of that. That was not too long ago. This radar image was 27 minutes past the hour, so a little over 10 minutes ago. And this is 501. So the tornado could have crossed 501. It also could have crossed 360 as it continued moving off to the east. We can put that in motion. And you can see as soon as it crosses 501, the colors are still there, But if you go back, you can see them touching here, then they separate a bit. The tornado is probably weakening, lifting back up into the cloud if it was on the ground, but it could have touched the ground there for a brief moment. Now, if you go back and you look at the correlation coefficient, indeed, you do see a lowering of values here. This is in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, so we're not going to see anything jump out at us. But I'm keeping that on the screen. You can see how it correlates here with the diminished cranberry colors there, the greens and the and even the blues. That could be either hail or it could be possible tornado damage here coming in from the area. Continuing to look at the weather wire, see if anything comes out. This is the very latest image, so this could be lofted debris. It would show up like that because the radar is that far away from the storm. Very dangerous storm. This continues again for about another 8 minutes till 8:45 p.m. This is one of the more impressive cells I've ever seen in this area for a possible tornado. Not at the very exact moment, but if you take it back to right there when we first jumped on, it looked like the real deal. And so if you're living anywhere in Halifax County, you should already be in your safe place, a closet, an interior room or hallway, away from windows. Don't even bother opening the windows or waiting on this thing. It's if it's on the ground or if it's developing, you're not going to see it, A, because it's night, B, because it's rain wrapped, and it's moving so fast you wouldn't have time to get out of the way by the time you saw it. So right now near Scottsburg is where the circulation is. And that is just off to the south of 360. 360 runs from Scottsburg to Clover to Williesburg here. And then kind of ahead of this, you're in a severe thunderstorm warning on 15 there as well, crossing in the Virgilina. You're under the severe thunderstorm warning in Cluster Springs for straight line winds, but still looking at some rotation and a very, very strong storm here. So let me show it to you graphically. I'm going to get this over here, and we're going to erase our storm track. So we'll take manual tracking. We'll clear the storm track off here. We're going to go into this image here. And I'm going to draw a manual storm track on this. Just give me 1 second. Well, it's moving east at 35. All right. I need to look at my velocity before I do this. They're continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Charlotte and Halifax County. Caswell County's out of the severe thunderstorm warning now. You can see it being shaven away there. All right, so I need to look at the rotation before I draw this. There are two areas actually now that I'm watching. I'm going to do this. I'm going to east at 35. Yeah, so these things are hauling. I can't be zoomed in too much or we'll lose. So it continues, you know, Chase City would be in the path of this. Now I can go over to, let's see, reflectivity. We can look at it this way. So you're in Scottsburg, you're only 4 or 5 minutes away from impact if this holds together. Clover is about 6 minutes and 55 seconds from impact. Chase City about half an hour if this holds together, okay? So if you continue this motion, that's basically what we're looking at. The tornado warning is now expired a little bit earlier. They're going to let it expire momentarily as the storm is bowing out now and more of a straight line wind fashion. Okay, so now this is going to shift, probably still have some damaging winds. Don't get me wrong, this is still going to knock some trees down, and this is still going to be something that may grab your attention and may break some windows and cause some debris to fly up in the air as it vents out. It's no longer rotating as much, so it's becoming more of a straight line wind threat, but the tornado warning has been allowed to expire in this area. So my software will update here in just a second, but the remnants of that will continue to move through and could at any time spin back up into something in southern Charlotte County. So southern Charlotte County through about 9 o'clock, you still want to have your game plan ready to go. And already with that severe thunderstorm warning, you should already be away from windows, but you may want to go to a basement just in case this comes back, and especially get away from windows right now with that straight line wind they're coming through. Let's take off some layers here so we don't get too bogged down with layers. So I'm going to take off the track. There you see the warning. Again, that's going to be lifted here any second now. You see where the severe thunderstorm warnings are still in effect. You also see some severe weather and a lot of lightning there showing up. There's a live lightning strike now with a lot of energy there over the Clarksville area on the line that separates Halifax County to Mecklenburg County. Southern Charlotte County going into South Hill, Chase City, this area. Somebody asked about Chase City earlier. And again, 9:14, you got about 30 minutes until impact from at least a severe thunderstorm. The tornado warning has now been lifted, and that shows up well here on this software. We'll continue to watch this very carefully, but we did have it spin up and get very tight there for a second, possibly lofting debris into the air, as you see there. You see the rotational marker there between Halifax and South Boston. This was earlier. Now the current image shows a weaker system, but again, this is a loft. By this point, now we're at almost 8,000 feet in the storm. So now exponentially, as we go out from the radar, you can see how that purple shows up, because we're depending on the radar all the way out here in Floyd. Have you driven from Floyd to South Boston? It's a drive, even as the crow flies. So not the best data here. I'm going to go to the Raleigh radar real fast and see if I can get a different view of this Halifax County storm. You see all the lightning with that, and you can see now a new severe thunderstorm warning now out for Chase City, Lunenburg. I'll read that to you. That's in effect until 9:45. We got a severe thunderstorm located over Dryburgh or near Clover, moving east at 35 miles per hour, 60 mile per hour winds. With the straight line winds that are coming through, we still have a circulation with this in Halifax County. It's just broadened out a bit. But it's closer to the Raleigh radar than it is the Blacksburg radar. So now we're only looking at about 4,000 feet instead of all the way up at 8,000 feet. So I'm looking at this storm from Raleigh standpoint. So now all of our relative winds are now north to south because Raleigh's to the southeast of where this storm is. So the circulation is still there near Scottsburg, and you've got another one there near Virgilina. It's just not tremendously strong at the moment. It's a little more broad, but you've got something weak there. And Scottsburg, you've got a little bit of a stronger remnant circulation. Probably this broke apart, could be cycling, could merge back together here over southern parts of Charlotte Courthouse, or Charlotte County rather. And then as you go into Mecklenburg and Lunenburg counties, it's still something to watch, as it could be producing a tornado later, or at least some in the very near term, some straight line wind damage. It'll be around Chase City at 9:10, Kells Corner at 9:15, South Hill at 9:45. Other locations impacted here would include Bacon's Fort, Wilburn, Spanish Grove, Beechwood, Gills Corner, Finchley, Finneywood, Forksville, Fairview, and Plantersville. Buckingham County, we've got multiple trees down on Rush Highway starting at the Appomattox and Buckingham County line. So that was not with this particular part of the storm. That's coming in from this part of the storm here, where in Appomattox County we've got tree down on the power line near Walnut Hill Road. We've got trees down on North Creek Drive in Appomattox County. In southern Nelson County, we've got 2 trees down on the Ty River Road area near the Buffalo River there. Quite a few storm reports as well coming in out of Southside, where we had that warning. We've got 1 tree down across the road blocking 1 lane of traffic there at the intersection of Industrial Park Drive and also near Ridgeway now and Henry County. 1 tree down on the power line in the 1700 block of Old Sand Road. There are also numerous reports coming in on the scanners of trees down throughout the area. Weaker trees that could be brought down by non-severe thunderstorms. But you're also seeing a bit of a bow echo down here in the Raleigh, North Carolina area as well. This is the southern flank of this storm complex here that's starting to get a little bit of a bookend vortex here as you get these stronger winds coming towards Stem and Durham and Chapel Hill. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:15 for Alamance County, Granville, Chatham, Durham County, Person County as well, Orange County, and that area until 9:15. Moving southeast at 25 are some strong straight line winds, and I think this is just picking up the fact that you've got that big bow coming through. So Durham's about to get slammed, and Chapel Hill as well, with some very strong straight line winds that can do some damage as well. But here, looking at about 4,100 feet up in the storm, I still see rotation to the south of Scottsburg. Scottsburg's now in the clear. You're on the edge of this now. It's moving right to the merger there of Mecklenburg and southern Charlotte counties here. Charlotte Courthouse on the edge of the Raleigh radar. You can see all the lightning there still jumping out, indicating a very formidable storm, a very strong storm, one that still has rotation with it. So it'll be interesting to see if the National Weather Service in Wakefield, they're watching this very carefully, and they're probably going to, they've already got the severe thunderstorm warning up, but they're probably going to be watching this for a potential red polygon, meaning a tornado warning if they need to. You can also see those lower correlation coefficient values showing up on the Raleigh radar as well, lighting up with that area of rotation. So again, that's a second radar that's showing us that we could have had debris lofted in the air between Halifax and South Boston about 30 minutes ago to 45 minutes ago. Williesburg, we've got some weak rotation between Sax and Williesburg, south of Drake's Branch in southern Charlotte County, south of Charlotte Courthouse, nearing the Fort Mitchell area. Chase City, this is on your doorstep. Clarksville, Boynton as well. You need to be seeking shelter. This is a very serious storm that has a history of producing possibly a bit of a notch that was enough for a tornado on the ground. At least to me, it looked like it was briefly confirmed by radar, but maybe the debris signature wasn't quite what the forecasters needed to see to take it up to that level. We do have confirmed straight line wind damage down throughout the whole area from this line of storms as it continues moving off to the east. So I'm going to stick with it here and see if I can. Let me pull open one of my other radar Omega. We'll look at some exact areas here and let this open up. This is so we can look at the mapping a little bit better. It's going to take a second to load here. Amelia, you were out ahead of this. You can see you're under a special weather statement right now, Amelia Courthouse. But it's coming through, so you need to kind of hunker down. You're going to have some gusty winds, probably up to 30, 40 miles per hour. Could turn severe at any moment, but it looks like the stronger stuff is a little bit farther to the south. I've got the wrong radar for you pulled up, but that's just looking at it from a glance there. So Amelia, you need to still kind of be on guard for the next 45 minutes to hours time. I'm doing something interesting. I'm looking at the terminal radar from the airport at Raleigh-Durham. And it's close enough. It's a bit closer than the National Weather Service radar. I want to see if I can pick up on anything here. Here's Midway, Buffalo Springs. Yeah, I see some high wind showing up at Aaron's Creek. This is Highway 58. Here's Clarksville. Carter's Point, take cover. Fleming Corner, take cover. Dryburgh, this is probably right over you or just went over you. Clarksville, Bluestone. This is Route 15. That's Highway 49 there. But particularly on 58 between Omega, Aaron's Creek, Buffalo Springs, I'm looking at possible rotation. And if I load the past 14 frames up, this may take a second, but I want to see how this evolved. There's just some real strong wind showing up on the terminal radar. Now, it's closer, but it's not as good of a radar because it's just an airport radar. But we have to know our tools sometimes and not just rely on one particular source of information. Now we're looking at a stronger radar farther away, but from Raleigh-Durham's Weather Service office, but we're not using the National Weather Service in Blacksburg's radar anymore because this is twice as close. It's just the way they drew the lines, figuring out whose area they were responsible for. I can assure you the folks in Blacksburg were looking at the Raleigh radars as well when they were making that call on putting out that tornado warning earlier. So we'll let this load. You're going to see the very strong rotation as it passed over South Boston. And now, even on the Raleigh radar, it was very strong, passed just south of Scottsburg, right there. Went over 501, and when it got to 360, it broke apart, luckily. And now it's moving into southern parts of, or really the meeting spot of Mecklenburg, southern Charlotte County, and eastern Halifax County, right there at Highway 15 there, nearing the Chase City area. That's where the possible rotation is. I do not see all areas are now out of the severe thunderstorm watch except for Charlotte and Halifax counties. And once this moves out, that'll be dropped. But the watch continues east of that area until 1 a.m. for all you folks watching in Central Virginia. We've got a Campbell County report here coming in. We've got a tree down along Chellis Fork Road, Ford Road due to thunderstorm winds. And again, that severe thunderstorm warning continuing for the Mecklenburg County area. Tree down in Campbell County, Buckingham County, another report of a tree down. So lots of trees down, and not really seeing any confirmed report of a tornado. But I tell you what, for about 5 to 10 minutes, it looked really serious from both the Raleigh and the Blacksburg radars. Between the worst spot, I've had to pick a spot in Halifax County of where I didn't want to see rotation. It would be between Halifax and South Boston. I mean, I've got folks that follow me there, and most of them are in the Halifax, South Boston area. So I'm going to hop off here, regroup, and see if any reports come in. But just continue, if you are ahead of this line, continue to know that you are not out of the woods until this line passes. Roanoke is out of the woods. You're out of the woods in the NRV area, except for a few gusty showers that'll be coming through. But areas from Raleigh north into even Hampton Roads, Greater Richmond, you are still under the gun for this line as it continues to move east throughout the next couple of hours of tonight. And by the way, for our friends watching off the northeast coast here, this storm is going to merge with this one that you see over the ocean and create this incredibly strong, big low pressure system. It's going to batter the New England coast with high winds, some heavy rain right along the coast, some coastal flooding, beach erosion. All of that's going to be going on tomorrow. That's why it's going to be so cold and windy here in Virginia behind this thing, because it's going to continue to intensify as it pushes off the area. And then we've got storm number 2 coming up Thursday night and the Friday. And for you folks in the south, it'll be a Wednesday event where you could have some tornadoes. This time it'll be to our south, but in Alabama from Mobile up through maybe the Atlanta area, just in a general sense, watching that second storm. But this thing's going to be a powerful one here into the day tomorrow. That's the latest for right now. We'll pray for our neighbors in Halifax County. Hope that wasn't what it looked like, but I'll let you know if we get any more information.